nothing wrong. I have done nothing wrong. You are violating my civil liberties. Give me my Bible back. What are you doing? Nothing wrong. You are assaulting me. I have done nothing wrong. I have done nothing. I have done nothing wrong to anyone. I can't. My leg hurts. I have nerve damage in my right leg. You don't have the right to do what you want to do. I've done nothing wrong. It's called freedom of speech, and I've been hurt tonight. I have been hurt by many people tonight, and I have been assaulted, and there's been hate crimes against me. All I did was read my Bible, and you're attacking and assaulting and ripping my pages up and treating me like an animal all night. All you've done is treat me like an animal all night. All night.
You don't take up this fight, I'm telling y'all right now what's going to happen. You're going to look up 20 years from now, the Bible's going to be illegal. Sharia law will dominate all of your countries. We will be persecuted by Islam from one house to the next. And then we're going to say stuff like, I wish I would have listened to the message. And you know who's going to pay the price? The next generation. He said this faith came down to us. We got to hand it down to the next generation, and it came to you and I in blood. I just want to remind you that Bible you have in your lap, a man died for you to have.
Done hiding. We're done. We're done being tortured and hurt and judged. This is the correct religion. This is the religion that all of humanity needs to be a part of, Islam. And we will not stop until it enters every home. So I want you to repeat after me. I want to hear it in every single district. It should tremble. Brooklyn should hear it. The Bronx should hear it. Queens should hear it. Say it as if the ummah depends on this, my brothers and sisters. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadan Rasulullah. There is no God worthy of worship except Allah, the God of Jesus, the God of Moses, the God of Abraham, and the God of the last and final Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Owens asked Andrew Tate, why aren't you a Christian? And the answer was very interesting. Check it out.
Time Christians are starting to stand up and speak about our principles.
I hope so. And I
could have used you.
Tate seems to be attracted to raw power more than truth. In other words, you can be tough and reverent, but if you're wrong about Jesus, you're still wrong.
Welcome back, everybody. As many of you guys know, I'm a law enforcement trainer instructor. I train and instruct military and law enforcement all over the country, all various law enforcement disciplines to include constitutional law, case law, patrol tactics, use of force, advanced criminal investigations, etc. And in this video, I really want to, we're going to talk about CRT, and I really want you guys to understand this through a different lens, right? And let me just say, the purpose of this video is not to bash Christian influencers, just not to bash other religious organizations, and the purpose is because of how far extreme we see the world is. Isn't that crazy? I want you to think about that for a second. I don't even have to go out of my way to say and try to undermine people because of how far extreme people within the Christian organization are, and then how far extreme the world is, how far displaced we are from reality. And that's truly a scary. I mean, am I honest? And again, I'm only saying, again, my biases are clear, guys, right? Military veteran, numerous deployments, law enforcement professional, done everything from, I'm SWAT certified, everything from SWAT to executive protection, major crimes task force, internet crimes against children task force, now, flood scene instructor, state police instructor. And so being in a role where I do advanced criminal investigations and I teach the advanced criminal investigation course for my state, for example, right? I see the world through a way different lens than your average person does. I can actually see what's going on the ground, right? I see the crimes unfolding. I get to investigate said crimes, and I get to understand, the mens rea, the intent behind it, and how they're happening and how they're coming together. So having this kind of insider, knowledge and having this ability to look at things from this way, I can tell you that by and large, we're losing young people left and right. And the reason why we're losing young people is because the young Christian diaspora sees through personal attacks, and they're getting to a point where they simply just don't care, right? And I think the whole Charlie Kirk assassination was a great point, because you see young people that are very upset with how the system is and how things are going, and you have Christian influencers and you have Christianity not giving them, number one, any solutions, and then being super vague on what it is to be a strong, courageous Christian. Nobody's explaining what that means. Nobody's giving any insight to what that means. Nobody's acknowledging that there's a problem, and I think that's kind of that's to the detriment of Christianity and the evangelical movement as a whole. There's no realistic solution or answers. Again, every week another church is being attacked. Christians are being slaughtered here in the United States of America. That's not including what's going on in Nigeria. That's not including the persecution that's going on worldwide. And the church solution, by and large, is number one, if they even acknowledge it, they acknowledge it, and then we need to pray. And I think that's great, but is there anything more that we can do? Is there any more response? Especially, let's just take it here at home. Is there any national response that we can do that's legal, ethical, and is going to help safeguard my family and my property? And I think that it's okay to have that conversation, but clearly it's not, because number one, if it was okay, we would be talking about it. And then we see, for example, and again, I don't know this gentleman, Brandon McGuire. He did the Candace Owens response to Candace Owens and Andrew Tate. And I don't know this guy. I don't know. I'm sure I don't know his views at all. I'm just looking at this video, but I find the response just completely, it's mind numbing. But then again, I realize, I don't believe this guy has a military background, a law enforcement background. He probably doesn't have a fighting background. He probably doesn't have a background of confrontation. And if he does, I would love to kind of understand, his articulation of this. But it doesn't seem like this person comes from a background of, confrontation, dealing with real world problems of people that are committing crimes or having to deal with bad actors that want to hurt people, right? And even the Bible, we see kill, steal, and destroy. I don't know what his background is in this, but I find it fascinating. And again, he's not the only influencer out there, but I just find it fascinating that, it's always the intent, right? So instead of realizing, because again, Candace Owens and Andrew Tate, even that short clip, they said a lot of things, right? And the fact that instead of saying, yes, there is a problem with Christianity being attacked, there is a problem with masculinity within Christianity, there is a big problem with all, instead of even acknowledging that, the response is, well, Andrew Tate is just addicted to power, raw power, and that doesn't matter if you don't know the truth. And then, well, what's the truth? Number one, what's the truth? And number two, if somebody was truly addicted to raw power, you would think that they would just, they would become a Christian, right? I think the power of God, the power of Christ, the power of Christianity, if power is truly what you're looking for, you're going to find no more power than in Jesus Christ. And it's crazy. And here's the thing: it's crazy that this message has to come from a cop. It comes from a military veteran cop. Where are the pastors? Where are the pastors talking about this stuff, right? And so, and I'm sure there are. Before you destroy me in the comment section, I'm sure there are pastors talking about it. But it's mind numbing to me that that's the first thing that that's his response to the whole thing. And let's be honest, the young Christian diaspora is seeing through this. They see through this, and we are seeing that converts to Islam is at an all-time high. And I do believe the pastor that we saw in the beginning, I do believe that he is correct in his predictions that soon Islam will take over. And what take over means is gonna vary. But I think on their current trajectory, I think Islam is set to be the next powerhouse religious organization within the United States, because they're doing so well that the state of Texas has to introduce legislation to stop them. Right? They are so well utilizing the framework that Judeo-Christians have created in our Constitution. They're so well at it, and they're doing so well at it that literally you have the state of Texas having to create legislation to curb their efficiency. And that's real world. That's what's really happening. And so, again, I find it wild, but these are just some things that I want you to take into account. I want you to think about, right? Because we're talking about church response. There's a church ministry for just about everything, right? Singles, young men, young women, adults, seniors. You have deaf ministries. You have ministries for disabled people, children's ministries. You have ministries for reaching addiction, for reaching all sorts of people. And I think that's great, and I think that's wonderful, and we should have those ministries. But I'm going to tell you, church response, that is a ministry. I can't tell you, just in my own personal life, having started a church response team, I cannot tell you how many men, salt of the earth, rugged, strong men, I can't tell you how many men have started coming to church because they're mission orientated, right? They may not understand all the theological, just like I don't. They may not understand all the theological, seminary type Christian doctrine. They may not understand all that. But you know what they do? They do know. They know how to work a hammer. They know how to work power tools. They know how to be rugged men. And they may not understand everything that goes on in the church. They may not understand all the gifts of the Spirit. They may not understand speaking in tongues. They may not understand all these vast nuances of Christian doctrine. But when you have strong men willing to go to church and stand up and say, "I don't understand what's going on in the pulpit here. I don't know what's going on with these people praising and worship, but I'm going to use every force multiplier that I can within a legal, ethical, and constitutional framework to protect said rights," that is a powerful mission statement. There's nothing more powerful than that. There's nothing. So my question is, why don't we have more? Why aren't we doing more to make that a bigger deal? And I think there's a lot of reasons for it, but looking at a lot of these Christian influencers, they probably just don't have the training experience necessary to, feel comfortable doing that. And I think that's a big issue, because here's some things I want to leave you with, and I want you to think about. Number one, I want you to know that our children, as you can see, they're being indoctrinated, and Christians are told to shut up and sit down, right? There's been so much in the courts about, especially in the state of Oklahoma, about introducing the Bible into schools when they can and can't pray, teachers being allowed to do this, that, and the other, right? We don't see that problem with people that are proselytizing Islam. We just don't. They simply don't care. If the school doesn't want to teach Islam, that's okay. they're going to do it anyway, and they'll go fight the system. And guess what? The schools, we're going to submit to what they're doing, right? They have no problem. Public government, as you can see, it has no problem submitting to another religious organization. And I'm not here to say one organization is right or the other, but we can definitely see that the power dynamic is skewed. It is. We see pastors being arrested for reading the Bible in public. Matthew Meneke being a great example. They're being told to shut up and sit down, right? But then you can see you can see the city of New York completely being able to have public praying, blocking streets off for Islamic services. We can see the same thing happening for secular LGBTQ organizations in Seattle, right? But when a pastor wants to read the Bible in public, he gets arrested, right? I don't see any outrage from Christians. I see when this happens, I see individual Christians having to support themselves. It's a self-support mission. Doesn't happen with other organizations, right? The Jewish people, as a collective, they will do what's right for them. Muslims, as a collective, they will do what's right for them. Christians, doesn't happen. It's just the truth. You can be mad about it all you want. I have the SCOTUS hearing. I have the hearings from the Seattle Supreme Court. I don't really care what your opinion is. 3, other religions are always given every pass that Christians don't have, and they utilize the system that Judeo-Christians created for their own benefit. And I think the great example is what I said in Texas, right? Texas has to introduce legislation to curb how efficient Muslims are being in policing their own communities and setting forth and prophetizing their way of life, their Sharia way of life. They're so good at it that you see the states having to organize and create laws to try to restrict it because they're that good. 4, I think Christian influencers have no real solution for how to protect their places of worship and how to protect Christians. I think that's just what it is, right? A church actually protecting themselves is the exception. It's not the rule, right? And we see this because the fact that how brazen people are attacking churches. You only attack a church, and the reason why church attacks are so high is because it's rare to meet resistance. You're probably not going to meet a whole lot of resistance. And I've been talking to a lot of churches. I've been doing consulting for a lot of churches, and I can tell you, by and large, churches are so underprepared for criminality. It is mind-numbing. But it's of no surprise. I mean, we see assaults, we see child predation and grooming at religious organizations at a level that's unheard of. And so, again, where are the influencers talking about safeguarding Christians' places of worship? I don't know. I don't know where they're at. And then number 5, I want you to take what this gentleman said, right? I want you to take what Mr. McGuire said, okay? Let's be honest. The real question we have to ask ourselves is, do tough, strong, reverent Christians, man or woman, do tough, strong, and reverent Christians allow their churches and places of worship and Christians to be attacked, assaulted, harassed without any response? Is that what tough, strong, reverent Christians do? If the answer is yes, that's fine. If that's your opinion, that's fine. I just don't agree with that. I don't agree with that messaging at all. And if that is the messaging that we're sending to young people, yes, I'm not surprised that they're leaving Christianity in record numbers, right? I mean, look at what that gentleman that was the Muslim guy in New York that had the microphone that we saw in the video earlier. He's literally saying enough is enough, and he's saying we're gonna take over every home, right? And he's saying to the God of Christ, of Jesus, the God of Abraham, right? That is a very powerful message. That's a powerful, unapologetic message to Christians, young Christians that want to be able to practice a faith and not be afraid to practice that faith. Because I'm telling you, those Muslims, they're not practicing their faith. They're not scared of practicing their faith, right? They have no problem doing that. You have Christians that are scared to pray at a restaurant in public quietly over their meal. Hey man, I know I'm pulling some strings here, I know a lot of you are upset. It's the reality, dude. It is what it is. I'm not here for your feelings, and I don't have to be, right? Again, my bias is pretty clear on this stuff, man. I don't have to be. And trust me, there's no churches out there that are affiliated with me, obviously. So, it is what it is. I'm just here to tell you the truth, man. It's sad, it's scary, but that's where we're at. That's 100% where we're at. And so that's the honest question, and that's the question I have for any Christian influencer out there. And I'm going to do a video on this. I want to do a video on this soon. But what does Christian strength look like, right? Because if you're telling me Christian strength and toughness and reverence is not defending Christians, is not defending places of worship, then what is it? That's an honest question. I want to know what it is, because I know what I think Christian faith, strength, toughness, and reverence is. But it's clear that my definition and your definition are different. So there you have it. And let me end with this. And this is something I teach at my course. I have a CRT course. This is something I teach, right? Again, this is my views and my view alone. But CRT is a proclamation of faith. It sends a message to the world and to the enemy that you are willing to defend the beliefs and affirmations of the church, of your beliefs, with force options. Legal, ethical, constitutional force options. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So there you have it. Hope this video is helpful for you guys. If you have questions, leave in the comment section below. If you're interested about training, consulting, send me a link, and stay tuned, because we're going to keep this series up. But most importantly, I want to know, what are your thoughts on Christian influencers like this? What are your thoughts about, let me just ask you a basic question. Answer those questions, but basic question. Do churches and Christians have a right to defend themselves? Honest question. I want to know. Let me know in the comment section below. As always, guys, long live the Republic.